Hey, welcome to the masterclass. So this is how to master your habits, avoid these 4 pitfalls, and how to achieve your health and fitness goals. Okay, we're going to go straight into it. So I'm going to be looking back and forth on the screen. Excuse me if you can see me coming back and forth. So, first one. Let's go into the fundamentals of habits. What is a habit? It is a routine or behavior performed regularly, an automatic response to a specific situation, often performed subconsciously. So what does that mean? Something you do again and again to the point where it becomes automatic. You might have noticed you always brush your teeth with the same hand, in the same way, normally in the same order, starting from the same side. I start at the bottom here, then I go to the side, then up and up, always the same. You always wipe your backside with the same hand. You probably wash yourself in the shower with exactly the same routine. Try doing it differently and see how it feels. It feels weird. So it's something that you perform regularly to the point where your brain, because it wants to streamline everything, wants to make things as easy as possible and have as little thinking time as it can. So it automates everything it can. Anything you do more than once, kind of a repetitive order, your mind tries to simplify and make it an automated process. Okay? So, next bit. One habit alone may not change your life, but multiple small habits combined could make a big difference. So this is all about small habits playing a big part of the picture. Okay? Small changes consistently over time compound into a big change down the line. These, I just handpicked these off the internet. These are kind of just 3, obviously Ronaldo, you're probably already fully aware who that is. I'm pretty sure these people didn't just all of a sudden do one habit and they became a professional footballer, an Olympic cyclist or an Olympic lifter. All these people and those types of people have all done a collection of small habits over many, many years that have compounded on top of each other again and again to get them to the place they're at now. I mean, especially if you look at the Olympic lifter, his routine, performing probably the same 2 or 3 lifts consecutively every day, or, within his training program to make him that little bit better, to make his process of lifting that weight so automatic that when it comes to it, when it's just a matter of adding a little bit more weight each time, it allows the brain to think less and the body just to go through the motion. It's automatic. It doesn't have to think. It's just a reaction. It's just an immediate response. The brain knows how to do it. So it's touching on the same point. Improving 1% each day doesn't sound much, but over a year, that is a 37 times improvement on the person who started. So on January 1st, if you started and just made that tiny bit of change every day, just 1% better every day, over the year, you're going to be 37 times better. Imagine doing that over years, like that last picture of those people. Imagine doing that for them. These people have probably been doing this since they were, 5, 6, 7 years old, maybe even younger. Compound that over many, many years, probably 20 plus for some of these people. You can imagine the level of autonomy they've got in their brain for some of their skills. I'm sure Ronaldo could probably do kick-ups in his sleep. He could probably close his eyes and know and feel the way the ball's going to be because he's done that many, that often, that his brain, his body are aligned and they are automatic in their process going through it. The alternative to getting 1% better is 1% worse every day. Okay, and that's obviously the last place we want to go. We don't want to go backwards. We want to start moving forwards, improving our life little bit by little bit, and slowly getting better and better. So habits compound, good, and if you can't see that there in the corner, good or bad. Okay, so daily exercise compounds in calories burned and health improved. A bad version would be eating more food than you need on a daily basis compounds to weight gain. Okay, so you imagine you don't have to do crazy exercises all the time, but if you're doing activity every day, that compounds over the week. That compounds to the point where more calories are burnt, which means your waist is obviously either stays the same or slimmer. Obviously improves health, depending on what kind of exercise you're doing. I'm not going to go into those sort of things, but as we know, daily exercise, daily activity, no matter what that activity is, daily activity compounding together has long-term health benefits. If you're consistently active, you're gonna burn more calories. Your body's going to be much more healthy and used to burning that sort of calories, which means in the long term you'll be able to have more food as well. But that's another subject. Again, like I said, so the opposite of that is eating more food than you need. You thinking this weekend, every weekend you like to have a little blowout, that compounds over many years, and you wonder why you've gained a bit of weight when you're good all week and you've allowed yourself Monday to Friday to be tight, and then you've gone, okay, I'm gonna have a Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, whatever it might be, or all three, to let go and live a little, which is cool. There's nothing wrong with having treats. There's nothing wrong, and using the word treats is probably a bad word, but there's nothing wrong with it, allowing yourself to have foods that aren't deemed as the most healthiest of foods. But you've got to be aware that doing these things over time, consistently, and again, you have it every weekend. Like I said before, you do something more than once, twice, 3 times, your body starts to build a habit around that. So if your habit is having a takeaway every Friday, Saturday night, that then starts to compound. You wonder why maybe your weight is slowly creeping up and you don't know where it's come from. It's because these things over many weeks and many years have just come together and gain that weight. So next point, letting work stress, parenting stress build up over time compounds into serious health issues. We all know how massive mental health is in the public eye right now. Anxiety, depression, they're at the highest level they've probably ever been in kind of recorded history. People have a lot more stresses to do with social medias, to do with work. Work isn't just now a 9 to 5, it's a 24/7 mammoth now that takes over people's lives. They can't escape work when they leave because most of the time their bosses are emailing them, their clients might be calling them. Work stresses and strains become so big now for people to deal with that they can't escape it. And then flipping that onto parenting stress, I have 2 children, love them to bits. They can be stressful at times trying to manage them and deal with them, especially in these times now whilst we're going through the lockdowns. It's trying to homeschool those kids whilst you're trying to, do your own work is very challenging, can test you mentally. And that over time, like I say, a lot of people now are struggling even more in this lockdown because a lot of things are coming together. They're having to look after their kids more at home because they're not at work, but whilst still working from home, so their bosses are expecting more from them or the same, yet they're having to deal with a lot more different stressors that again are building up, adding to this mental pressure that builds up and builds up and builds up. And whilst at the beginning it might have felt good or okay or manageable, over many weeks and months, it starts to press down, and become a lot more serious, and the pressure and the compounding effects of the stress can cause a lot more serious health problems. Next point down, allocating time each day, each week to your loved ones compounds into better relationships. When was the last time, disregarding the lockdown, when was the last time you text your wife, your partner, that you love them? You may tell them in person. Do you send them a nice message when you're at work? Do you ring them? Do you do anything with them? Do you go on dates with them? Just because they're your wife or partner now doesn't mean you still shouldn't be dating, still shouldn't be going out and enjoying each other's company. Lockdown, disregarding, obviously we can't right now, but even then you can still make the effort to do things together as a family or as a two to still keep those bonds together. And again, these things build up. If you, for example, if you want to have more sex with your wife or your partner and you don't pay her any attention, you don't do anything for her, and then you expect just to jump into bed and get some, you might get it the odd time, but over a period of time, sooner or later, they're going to be like, all you want me for is cleaning, cooking and sex. And it'll come to a point where you'll get nitty and gritty with each other. The relationship will start to degrade because one of you, maybe, or two, it depends, I don't know your relationship, will start to feel like they're just being used for a certain thing. And that's where these small things about building on top of your relationship, actually giving each other time, not expecting to just have what you want just because you go to work and bring in the bacon doesn't mean that you can just entitled to come home and get what you want. So again, we're digressing from the point here, but building relationship kind of time and effort with each other builds into a much healthier relationship, and compounds over time to a happy marriage. And the last point there we've got there is negative self-talk compounds into low self-confidence and higher levels of anxiety about new things. So it's such a big point, especially nowadays, negative self-talk, the way you talk to yourself, the way you keep promises to yourself, your identity as a person, who you believe you are, can be huge and is huge in terms of your success in many, many areas, not just in health and fitness, but in your work life, in your home life, how you see yourself, how you see your place in the world, and how you think others see you is a huge part. And if you talk to yourself in a negative frame and tell yourself you're crap at this, or you're no good at that, or I'm not good looking, or I could never do that, or I'll be happy when, these sort of things have a constant barrage and weight on the mind. So if you continually tell yourself these things, sooner or later your mind will believe that this is the way it is until you change it. Okay? So it's such a huge thing about how you talk to yourself. And these are sort of things that with clients we work on, we learn how to deal with language, how we speak to ourselves, amongst many other things. I love this quote by Jacob Riis. When nothing seems to help, I go and look at the stonecutter hammering away at his rock, perhaps 100 times without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet at the 101st blow it will split in two, and I know it was not that last blow that did it, but all that had gone before. This is where, touching on the same subject, the small habits make the big difference. It's not that one hit that broke the rock, it's the many, many, many that come before it. It's not the one exercise that's going to make you lose weight, it's the combination of small things that add up over consistent time that allows you to stay in better shape, allows you to be healthier, fitter, stronger, leaner, helps your relationships get deeper, stronger, more fulfilling, happier. So just remember that it is it's the small things that matter, not the big things, okay? So goals or processes, so we've touched on the fundamental parts. Now we're going to go into whether it's the goals you should be setting or whether you should be setting a process stroke habit. So problem one, goals restrict your ability to be happy. And what do we mean by that? So it creates an either or situation. I'll be happy when I lose weight. I'll do this when I've reached my promotion. We'll go out more when I've finished this. And you keep using this delayed gratification on an external goal. So you're always having to pin it to something. You're not allowing your happiness just to be there and then in the present. You're pushing it onto another source or subject, kind of an entity of something that you cannot control. You're saying, I'll be happy once I've made £1 million. And if you never make £1 million, will you ever be happy? So you've got to allow yourself to be happy in the moment, allow you to be happy with the process of what you're doing rather than the actual goal itself. Don't pin all your hopes and dreams at the end goal. Okay? Be happy in the process, be happy in the improvement of where you are and what you're doing. It's a much more mental kind of, I can't think of the right word to use here, but it's a much more nice, stable way to be, rather than pinning all your hopes and dreams into one thing. Problem number 2, winners and losers have the same goal. So if you use the Olympics as an example, everyone who goes to the Olympics, all the athletes, I can guarantee, want gold. They all want the gold. Okay, none of them wants to be bronze, none wants silver. Whilst they might be happy to have made the podium, all of them are going there to get gold. So we hear this thing where you've got to set big, lofty goals, and he said it's so big that even if you miss, you're going to come, halfway to what you would have been, which is better than where you would have been. Isn't always the case. So that proves the point, because, like I say, everyone at the Olympics all want gold. So if they all want gold, it's not the size of the goal that's the determining factor. It's potentially the processes, the things that get them to that goal. We'll go into these in a moment of how we can break these down, but if we know that the goal, the big, ambitious, lofty goal, isn't the determining factor, what we have to bring it back to is, what's the difference between the guy that wins gold and the guy that doesn't? What did he do to win that the other guy didn't? Yeah, there's an element of luck and certain things that come into it, but in my eyes, luck, also, you can get luck in your favour if you're consistent with your actions and your processes and your habits, and you're continually going at that. Luck then seems to come to you sometimes, because if you can be so good and so consistent with how you're performing, then you're much better chance to get lucky, because you're putting yourself in the situation to become, in that situation, to get there. If you're continually training hard, always hitting your goals, tracking everything that kind of you should be, and that is consistently over time and many, many weeks, months, years, you're going to put yourself in a much better situation than someone that is just going on a couple of months kind of training regime and getting themselves ready to go. So just remember, it's not the size of the goal, it's the processes and the strategies that you use to get to that goal. That's the determining factor. Problem number 3, goals don't last. What do we mean by that? So your goal is to lose weight, you succeed, then you relapse back to your default identity. You cured the symptom, not the cause of the problem, focusing only on the result but not the system to get you there. So you probably all heard before where you've gone on a diet training program and you have lost weight because your aim was to lose, two belt sizes, maybe 10 pounds, a stone, whatever it might have been. You lose that weight, goal achieved, and then you default back to who you were, because you didn't change the core of who you are. So you treated the symptom, which was the weight gain, and didn't treat the cause. Why did I gain the weight? You got rid of it, but you didn't treat the reason why you got it. I hope that makes sense, because that's a huge, huge kind of milestone that if we can crack it, you'll never have to worry about weight gain again. Okay, so treating the actual cause of why you got there to prevent you from relapsing back is fundamental in your success. If you want any sort of long-term success, it is key to know what got you there and not to fall back into that pitfall. Focusing only on the result and not the system. So again, you're just focusing on, just want to lose weight. Losing weight is the easy part, okay? Keeping it off is the hard part. Anyone can lose weight. Statistics show that it is society as a whole loses weight and can lose weight very easily. But statistically, I think it's something like 90% of them relapse further back than where they were before they started the diet or the training program. So it is huge that you treat the actual cause, not the symptom. And then problem 4, goals are narrow and short-term centric. So what do we mean? Many people have goals to complete a marathon only to stop running completely once they complete it. You may have had a similar goal, you may have even done it yourself. It creates an up and down, on and off cycle, loss of motivation once the goal is achieved. So rather than you becoming, your goal being, I want to become a better runner, and focusing on that as a goal, than I just want to run a marathon, is a lot different. Running a marathon, once you've ran, you completed it, you're there. It's what do I do after that? So unless you are very good at refocusing your attention and carrying that momentum forward, you'll end up relapsing back and going backwards again. And like the last problem, you will go back to who you were before. Okay, and it's all about, and as I'll touch on in a moment, it's all about changing the identity as you as a person, which is fundamental and key to your long-term success. So goals are very short-term. You're focusing, you got blinkers, and it allows you to go for it. They are good for certain things, but they are bad for others. If you're looking at a long-term sustainable life and body, health, fitness, then you've got to focus on the process. Focus on how you can improve. Focus on how you can just make little small changes day by day, bit by bit, and slowly get better and better and better to the point where it becomes automatic. Okay, solution. Allowing yourself to enjoy and focus on the process is the key to maintaining consistency. Small habits over time compound into large results. Remember, habits can work for you or against you. And it goes back to the first point, where they're good or bad, doesn't matter. The habit will just be the habit. Okay, your mind will automate everything. Okay, anything you do more than a few times, your body starts to automate it. It thinks, I've done this, I did it this way before, and it worked, and it will do it again. And we'll touch on these things now, how we can do it. Change, it needs to happen at the core, not the surface. Okay, so there's 3 kind of levels. It is either outcome or identity based. Okay, outcome based is working from the left hand picture, which is the outside in, and identity based is working from the inside out. Okay, it's changing who you are as a person compared to just doing the surface level weight loss. Okay, so the 3 levels, again, like I just said. So the first one, the outer layer, is the results based. So this is the goal, the outcome you want, losing weight, running a marathon, etc., like we've already touched on. The second level down is the process based, which is the habits. This is the habits, actions that lead to the desired outcome. I'll do this program to lose weight, etc. Okay, it's building the actions and being consistent at this level that creates. Okay, and at the deepest level, the identity level, is how you see yourself, your beliefs, your place in the world, who you believe you are at the core. I'm overweight, always have been, always will be. If you believe that, if that's your story of who you are, then you're going to find it very difficult to keep the weight off, because your mind wants to fulfill its own belief. So we all subconsciously probably self-sabotage you. You'll lose the weight, you'll do something to then regain the weight, or slowly creep back up to where you were. Okay, so it's all about changing who you are internally, and that is how you get the long-term results. So your mission, decide who you want to be, and then take consistent action towards that. And what do we mean by, so let's try and go deeper on that. So let's use, if you wanted to be an Olympic athlete, if you wanted to be a runner, you've got to think to yourself, who is that person? What do they do? What things do they do daily? What kind of actions do they take? They are a consistent person. They're probably very good at tracking their results because they need to know every timing that they're doing. They're probably very disciplined, dedicated. And these are the sort of things that you've got to take on board and think, how can I become and those things? How can I embody those principles and beliefs? And you've got to do it bit by bit. It doesn't just happen overnight. You have to build upon it and slowly build the confidence in yourself, build the trust in yourself to change your identity from the inside out. So let's touch on how we can probably do that. Like 4 parts to a habit. So there's the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward. So the cue, this is where you're looking for a reward. So your brain is always looking for a reward. For example, looking to start an exercise program because it would lead to a leaner body, more muscle, and greater sex appeal from your partner, etc. So this is seeing the thing that you want. Craving, this is the motivation behind the action. So, for example, you don't crave exercising, even though myself, someone that enjoys kind of the exercise part, not many people really crave to do exercise. And even I, someone that enjoys it, has their moments and periods where you think, I don't really want to do it, I'm not feeling it, but I've got into such a habit that I do it automatically. I just go through the motions, whether that becomes a good workout or bad workout, doesn't matter because my body's just gone into the habit of doing it. The next part is the response. So this is the action or habit that you perform. For example, exercising and eating differently towards your goal. So caveat, if you don't have a strong enough desire or motivation to take action, you won't. Okay, so the craving has got to be strong enough for you to actually take action. Okay, for example, if I put a gun to your child's head and said, you're going to lose weight, you've got till tomorrow to drop a stone, you'll probably go out running, not eating, for the next 24 hours to drop weight, wouldn't you? The motivation, desire is there. You're going to do it. Okay, versus me saying, lose weight by tomorrow or I'll do nothing. You're not gonna be motivated. You're not going to be inspired or have any desire to take any action. So the response is what you do. So remember, the cue is the reward, what you're looking for. You see what you want. Okay. The craving is the motivation. The response is what you do, and then the reward is obviously what you get. Is what you get for the actions that you take. So a leaner body, less stress, more confidence. Rewards satisfy us and provide feedback for us. Okay, and it becomes like a big circle and brings us back to the beginning, which I'll touch on in a sec. So the cue triggers the craving, which motivates the response to take action and receives the reward. So this in turn satisfies the craving, and then the reward becomes associated to the cue. Okay, so let me give up a real world example. You believe starting an exercise program will get you a lean, strong body, which is your cue. You become motivated to start because you can see the amazing shape you'll be in when you finish. That's the craving. You can see the end result. You start the program, you follow it through, which is the response. You are rewarded with a strong, lean body, or not, depending on what action you take, which is the reward. That reward then comes back around to the cue to make it a full circle. Okay, so you see the reward, you see the fact that you might have seen a picture of someone in a magazine, you might have seen anything, you might have been on the beach, whatever it might be, and you've seen something that thinks, I want to be like that, builds the craving, think, right, what do I need to do to get that, generates the response, I'm going to do some more exercise, I'm going to eat differently, and then you're rewarded, right or wrongly, with your results. And that, obviously, how much effort, how much everything comes together depends on what results you get. Okay, I hope that's helped. I'll try to rattle through that as quick as I can. Hopefully it's made sense. Hopefully it's given you some kind of nuggets to work with. If you need help with any of this, don't be afraid to drop me a message. Let's have a chat. These are the sort of things that I do with clients, is how the deeper levels we go into, we work on habits. We work on who they are in their identity, how they learn their language, of how they speak to themselves, how we can build on their self-confidence. So these are the areas that we touch on with clients that then that gives them the longevity, allows them to have long-lasting results rather than a flash in the pan of dropping 10 kilos, which, to be honest, it's easy to do for someone. I can get someone to drop weight relatively fast. Getting them to keep it off is another matter. Okay, that requires a lot more deeper change mentally than it does physically. So, like I say, if you need help, if you just want to talk about anything, not quite sure if some of this made sense, want me to elaborate more on any areas, let me know. I'll do another video, some further trainings, and we can go deeper into it. Okay, as always, any help, I'm always here if you need me. So, peace out.